We are into the draft, so let's get you in there right now. We've had 3 bans already.
The Rubik first ban.
The Rubik ban.
Yeah, that's the most picked hero for Alliance.
Alliance have picked that beyond anything else, so no surprise.
And Lifestealer, of course, hero that's just been dominant across the entire time here on the main stage. No surprise to see him banned out. I just think teams are getting sick of seeing it. It's like he's just so good, he's so consistent. It's just obnoxious.
And it's not just the lifesteal, it's that then you have to ban Ricky in the second phase. A lot of teams are doing that consistently now because it's just such a hard to stop gank.
He's gone.
Well, this is really interesting. Alliance banned the Wisp themselves. So both of the most commonly picked EGM heroes are gone from the pool.
Na'Vi immediately opts for the Slado.
That's quite a change-up. I don't really know who else first picked Slaughter. I think it's just MVP, right?
Well, it's Alliance's next most played hero. It goes Rubik and then Slardar, 5 and 4 games respectively. They've played about 25 heroes in about 10 games, so they're variable here. But if they take their best hero, or maybe not their best hero, but it's a hero they have 75% win rate on. Loda plays it well. Oh, I'm so excited.
Jakiro is back.
I was just arguing with people.
Jakiro is back.
He was saying it last panel, and now he gets it.
Oh, really? Yeah,
He's so happy.
I was just...
I said last night when we were going back to the hotel, there are 2 heroes that still haven't come out from teams that have told me they want to play it. One was Jakiro with Alliance, one was Legion Commander with Complexity. We've now got both within a game.
So that's 91 now.
It's 91 heroes now.
Companion predictions are
I think
getting close to being ruined.
Yes, they are.
This is the team most likely to pick it, though. They played Jakiro at Epicenter. They had some good value with it. I'm just excited to see it. I just had an argument with people on Reddit that saying that Jakiro does have some value. They were just saying, oh, he's slow and you can dodge all his spells and stuff. There are situations when Jakiro is okay, and Faceless Void is one of them. It's guaranteed macro pyro damage. You can push lanes. You provide attack speed slow and other utility. It's pretty okay.
The one question I've got for you though is it a bit too early here? Or do you not think they would have got it later on if they kind of played around it through the draft?
That's a really good point. It is a little early.
It does also leave their draft pretty open.
Very open.
It's a support pick. You're not revealing your cores unless they pull a DC and run it mid, but I highly doubt that they will. So, you know, still very flexible. Honestly, I'm just surprised that Purge spends time arguing with people on Reddit.
Don't you?
No.
Charlie just tweets stuff.
Fun, man.
Lets people get on with it.
Gotta set people right. Jakiro's the way. They're also pretty happy that there's a Phoenix picked. Ice Path, really long range ability. They can interrupt Sunray without too much trouble there.
And yet the Phoenix came afterwards as well, so they obviously feel like that's not an issue for them.
It might even been part of the plan, like let Phoenix through, pick Jakiro,
well,
have
Sunray
that cover.
does have a longer range than Ice Path.
And Navi's also been picking Phoenix pretty consistently. You know,
Yes,
last 3 games they played, they picked either the Phoenix and the Mirana together or just the Phoenix plus another core.
Yeah, it's also a mild block pick in a way, but yeah, Alliance have also been picking a lot. It's their second most picked hero over the last 3 months, so it works both ways. And
another thing about the Void here, it's very likely going to be a carry Void. They do sometimes do offlane, but I think they're one of the teams that consistently does Faceless Void carry.
Yes.
So we'll probably see something very similar there.
Chantress and Puck?
Oh, the Puck is banned, so we won't be seeing the Dream.
Won't be seeing...
That's good. We're also not going to see a TA.
Well,
so.
we're saving it for Game 3, guys.
Oh, of course we are.
Oh, yeah. It's really important to point that out.
Yeah.
Bans, though, not out of the ordinary from what we expected. The Enchantress ban, it's very Navi oriented. Art style staple.
Yeah, Knoxville just sent me a note saying that I can't actually repeat what he actually said, but just something my compendium predictions.
Okay.
I think you can guess.
I mean, does anybody 90 heroes out of like 100?
91.
That's
91 now.
What was the range for the actual prediction? It was 81 to 90 or something?
There were about 5 every level, starting at about 60 or something, all the way up.
So everybody's is going to get ruined.
I think so. It's a good time for Dota, man.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. This is a perfect example of good meta balance. Is a hero like Jakiro who's sometimes good,
yes,
and is different than other heroes.
We said this day one in the group stages, weren't we? Do you remember we were discussing about the fact that it's such a wide pool now, and there's so many different things that you can counter with and come back against, and then learn about it, and then come back again, and it means that almost everything is within reason. Maybe Sniper's a stretch, but almost every hero is viable.
And that's why I argue with people on Reddit, because that's the point. Jakiro shouldn't be made to be Crystal Maiden or Vengeful Spirit. You don't have to make his nukes reliable. You don't have to balance it around other heroes. You balance it around the fact that he has unique ability. He's slow because he has really high strength gain, and he has tons of AoE utility. There's very few supports that have as much AoE utility as Jakiro has, for example.
Look, Kevin,
another one.
Oh.
Okay.
The Skywrath Mage was a big surprise. We've not seen it this tournament. It wasn't one of the heroes we thought might come out either. It's pick number 92.
But we actually were talking about it. It's not the most unexpected. We've been seeing the Voids all the time, and then we've been waiting for that Skywrath mage.
It's great with the Void, but even more so, it's great against the Phoenix.
Yeah.
It's great against the Phoenix. You can Mystic Seal him, silence him, and it's great at zoning out offlaners. Something that we've really departed from are those supports that are really good at like zoning out an offlaner by itself. Oftentimes, sometimes the support needs help. We saw that with the Lion and the Tide. The Tide just got way too many levels, but Skywrath is the king of zoning out offlaners.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's an Ake icon. He's been playing it not too much, of course, lately, but he used to play it a lot around the TI4 region.
Even in times when Skywrath Mage was definitely being pushed out of the meta and wasn't being played anymore, Alliance was one of the few teams actually playing consistently.
Oh. And the Brood comes out now.
I think that's in response to the Chen.
Okay. It's in some ways bad against Slardar, though. Because if you blink Dust, you can amp him. Very easy to kill then.
But in those early stages, Brood is still going to apply a lot of pressure here. Slardar doesn't really do anything against that. If you put the Brood against the Slardar, he's going to play off the back foot, and Slardar doesn't do well catching up. He's going to have a delayed blink dagger. He's not going to be that initiator that can counter the Brood.
Keep looking through your book, Dendy. This one's not in there.
Definitely not.
Are you talking about a Brood Slar 1v1? Or are you just saying, like, where are you assuming the Slardar's going?
Okay, this is the beauty of Alliance's draft right now. If the Brood is in a 1v1 or even a 1v2 against the Slardar, Brood should come out ahead. If you think about it, it's a Chen, so he's not going to be able to do much against the Brood, and it's going to be a Phoenix zoning out a Brood. No, Brood destroys that lane. If it's a Slardar in the off lane, Skywrath Mage destroys that.
Okay.
So that's the response to the Broodmother.
Game on then.
We saw LGD do that
Yep.
earlier today.
It works okay, but they have silence on Skywrath Mage. They have tons of nukes between Jakiro Sky, Faceless Void, a lot of magic damage.
Time dilation versus Timbersaw is quite devastating.
Got another question for you that was sort of sent to me via social media, which sort of fits this, not quite, but why isn't Silencer being used very much?
Too cooldown dependent. I think his basic skills are actually pretty good. Alliance is the most likely team to pick it. They have picked it, but it's just safer to go for other supports.
I also don't particularly like the new version of Arcane Curse.
I personally like it.
Yeah? I like the one point of it because of course it's very good versus stopping blinks and everything, but it just doesn't seem like it has that power that it used to, that obnoxiousness.
It just feels like it might fit the counter to what we're seeing a lot of, so just, it's one of those questions. Why didn't it come up?
I think it's just like super cooldown dependent.
Yeah,
if you look at all the
cooldown
other teams, or the meta for all the other games, it's about just running at you constantly. Silencer's awful against that.
Yeah.
That cooldown on the ultimate is so long.
Yeah.
Okay. 5th pick's still to come. One more ban. The Invoker is out from Alliance. Yep. Very interesting draft. One of the more interesting drafts we've had at the Major, actually.
Yeah, massive change-ups across both.
Yeah.
So they ban out the Lesh. So they have the Queen of Pain. They have...
It's got to be a BKB mid.
They have Queen of Pain, Windrunner,
Tinker's Band. I think those are the two big ones that stand out to me.
I mean, most of Alliance is magic damage right now. So something that's like a BKB core, I feel like is the most obvious progression. I don't necessarily want to see Dendy playing Dragon Knight or something like that, but they need that kind of a solution, I think.
Especially because they have the Chen. I was thinking how it complements it very well, and they kind of, besides the Chen, they kind of lack push.
Yeah, exactly. Death Prophet would have been my call.
Yep.
But
is this also banned?
Yep.
So they go for the Windrunner that you were talking about. So that's...
I kind of like this. There's pretty weak disable on Alliance. Like, they have slows and things, but
it also synergizes really
with Slardar.
Really well.
Good point.
Back to what Seeker was doing at
and he's got Windrun versus Faceless Void, so Void's going to consistently have to chrono. If he pops Windrun as he chronos, then Void has to completely rely on the magic damage to get kills. It's actually a pretty good pick here. I like it.
All right. So where do we go in the mystery draft that is Alliance's draft this time round?
If they go by standard stuff, again, there is the Queen of Pain, there's the Dragon Knight, which they like a lot. It synergizes with the Jakiro and the Broodmother. But if not standard, we might just see, I don't know, something completely...
They've been picking a lot of Lesh. Lesh isn't that good.
Lesh is banned.
Lesh
There's
is banned.
so
That's
many
the
mid
fifth ban,
heroes
yeah.
that are banned already, and I think Na'Vi probably took the best mid hero that for Alliance. I think Windrunner would have been
What about the
the
Quap for
Alliance
them?
pick. The what?
The Queen of Pain.
I think Quap
It's
fits
okay,
well.
but like Fogg said, it's a lot of magic damage.
Yeah. Once they get like a pipe or two, their damage is over.
But really, where else do we go?
Viper, DK.
Yeah. Okay.
Because their heroes S4 does not have the best win rates on. They played Dragon Knight 3 times, kind of the similar thing. They've lost 3 games.
Yeah.
I think he needs something that's more playmaking. He's got to be able to create space, get things done. It's not just about tanking up and pushing towers.
Going to use all that time in that booth as well, isn't he?
Well, they got about 30 seconds to make their pick, so they've got a lot of deliberation to do.
Those are the ones that we listed are pretty much
about
everything that they've
Batrider?
picked recently.
Is
Unless,
Batrider
unless it's a Batrider. Yeah, Batrider could be.
It combos well with Skywrath Mage. They can use it with Macro Pyre.
But then it's still
full
more,
Space Maker on
It's
him.
full Space Maker, and again, it's still a lot of magic damage, and Batrider or the other cores don't have a great game.
There's no follow-up.
There's no follow-up, yeah, exactly.
It does give them a bit of deep. Okay, they do go for the Dragon Knight. It
Okay.
It synergizes so well with the Jakiro.
But
It does.
as you rightly pointed out, hasn't been the most successful hero for S4 either.
Doesn't match his playstyle super well, but I think they had to pick it.
And it gives
All
them
right.
another form of lockdown, which
Yeah.
Okay,
they did need that.
very quickly, let's go down the line. Who's had the better draft? If you can decipher it, Charlie.
Ooh. I like Navi's draft a lot here.
Okay, more standard, fogged.
I like
Wacky-
Alliance's
wacky or
draft,
standard?
honestly.
Wacky or
I
standard?
really do like Alliance's draft. I think
Okay.
they have a little bit more synergy across their
All
heroes.
right, and Perch finally with you.
Yeah, I think I like the Alliance draft a little bit better. I think the pieces fit together better than Navi's does.
Okay, time to find out then, because the wacky draft versus the more standard one. You wouldn't believe who it was. Alliance versus Na'Vi, game 1 is about to begin. LD and Melini, it's all yours.
Thank you very much, Paul. That's right, we're live here, and Ben, I have to say, coming into the Manila Major, so many fans out there, they were really excited for EG versus Secret, but as it turns out, El Trashico is not happy. It's El Clasico, Na'Vi versus Alliance, a timeless story. Let's get into it.
Na'Vi
I didn't have enough time.
versus Alliance.
That's right, folks. Alliance versus Na'Vi. A tale as old as time. A classic battle. Some new faces on the Na'Vi side, Ben, but a very, very just dynastic matchup here.
A lot of old school stuff going on here. Faceless Void and Skywrath, something that we haven't seen too much, maybe at TI4, but Alliance does like to pull it out now and then. Bulldog doesn't want to be matched up versus the Timbersaw. It doesn't look like they're trying to dodge that matchup at all.
So I want to get your thoughts quickly on the draft here, Ben, before we get too far into the lane. So the panel seemed like the edge was going slightly to Alliance. Do you buy that, or are you feeling it more for Na'Vi?
Their point was more that there's much more synergy in between like Faceless Void with the Skywrath and the Jakiro, even the Dragon Tail with those two. Na'Vi, you really only have the synergy with the Wind Ranger and the Slardar. Timber's just the Brood counter, and then Chen is just one of Art Style's best heroes. Same with Suneko on the Phoenix. So I agree that I see more synergy in Alliance's team fight composition.
All right, let's see how they're able to execute it as the runes begin to spawn here. We will see just a 1v1 at the bottom. A big duel that could have happened won't actually materialize as it's an easy grab here. A double for Na'Vi, uncontested. They start the game off with 2 bounty runes. Alliance forfeiting them. Not as important as they used to be without the experience, but that is still a nice little boon to get this game underway.
Okay, they did move Admiral Bulldog onto the top lane, but with the Observer Ward scouting out the Timbersaw, they have moved Admiral Bulldog down to the bottom. So this is, you don't want your Brood to be matched up versus the Timbersaw at all. I think regardless of what build the Brood goes, the no Broodling or the Spiderling build, you will still lose.
Already the Sentry getting planted down here in the lane as always. Looks like top lane actually 3 heroes very aggressively after the Timbersaw, but he's just going to hang back. So yeah, we'll take a look at all the lanes. Yara holding serve in the top lane. He's getting offensive trialing by a Void. Not something you used to see, well, really have ever seen much of, but Alliance, they've been the one team in this event that actually run aggressive tri-lanes, and they had some success with it against Mineski. Thoughts on the way they're setting this up?
I like how they're positioning. They have EGM on the right side because he has armor and he has a lot more strength. So if the Chen comes in, EGM will be the first one to scatter out, not the vulnerable Skywrath. So I think they're because Chen does have a smoke, he is looking to neutralize the pressure of this tri-lane. But with EGM over there and Loda right behind him, I don't really think they can get a kill with the Chen.
And I have to say, for Na'Vi, that's where they've had their best games, is when Artstyle is playing that aggressive jungler, someone who can create a lot of space in the early to mid game. Up until now, that's been where Na'Vi's had their greatest success. So we'll see if he's able to deliver. For now, though, that ward might make it difficult to move towards the top side of the map, and DotA finds himself on a bit of an island. Alliance with quite a bit of kill potential, a lot of magic damage here, and the silence. But haven't tried to make a go on him just yet. So far, playing it very defensively. And as we take a look at mid, we can see Dragon Knight not having the easiest time thus far, but S4, he's getting his levels. That's really all he cares about. As the runes come out, 2 minutes. So a quiet game thus far. Seneko snagging another bounty rune. That's 2 in a row for him, and he's even starts punching Ake, forces him back a bit. Na'Vi with the clean sweep on the first 2 sets of runes. Lions just don't care about them.
Slaughter is getting a lot of farm in the bottom. He was just ahead of Admiral Bulldog in CS until he left the lane for about 30, 40 seconds to get that rune. It's not an easy lane for Slardar.
Yeah, definitely being left to the wolves, but Artstyle looks like might be making his first move now as they prepare for a likely smoke up towards the top side of the map. We can see S4 just hanging out in the mid lane and taking a look at what's going on. Top DotA posting up a little bit here. They are wrapping the Chen around south from the river, from behind. From the north comes the Phoenix, the Timber just baiting, and Alliance are about to be caught totally unawares. There's the jump in, EGM, eat the Sunray, meet the Centaur, and easy first blood. Na'Vi, as always, Artstyle, he's on point on the junglers.
Na'Vi playing pretty riskily. A lot of times with the Chen or Enchantress, you'll have a Sentry Ward just to make sure that your first smoke gank is not popped. And Na'Vi pays off for them.
And with that, looking at their farm here, not doing so hot on the Timbersaw. We do see Bulldog and Loda on the Void and the Broodmother, respectively. They're topping the CS charts, but at the same time, Na'Vi not getting completely destroyed in the lanes. They do have the Chen factor, Dendi getting his customary heavy denies as Seneko moves in mid, offers that assistance that he seems to bring to the mid lane almost every game. And I think one of the big reasons why Na'Vi loved the Phoenix is they could just do so much to zone out these 1v1 matchups.
Na'Vi's just moving everyone around Seneko to the mid lane, and we see DotA move down to the bottom lane.
Shackle mid, there's the swoop forward, Icarus dive, and then they're going to chase this one a bit. The Sunray comes out, round 2. S4, will he dodge the power shot? He can't! Dendi pierces his armor and shuts him down. Seneko just making plays, as always, in the laning stage for Na'Vi.
S4 did a really good job of trying to dodge that shot, but Dendi...
He juked himself, you know, he ran right, he ran left, he ended up in the middle, and Dendi nailed it. So it was a good effort.
I wonder where General is supposed to find farm. We got left to the Wolves in the bottom lane, just against a solo Broodmother. Now that Broodmother is level 5, it's a very problematic lane for a hero that doesn't have that much AoE. And the top lane is constantly...
Oh, okay, he's trying to answer Seneko, but they actually have detection for him as he roams through mid. Not realizing the sentry was there. He'll make it out. But a missed opportunity for a potential kill. And going back to your point about the Slardar here, I guess they're going to try to do it with just aggression. They run onto EGM looking for the crush. He's going to hold it. He recalculates. Then he lets it fly. They get off the follow-up stomp and the Hadouken. Artstyle, very good micro here, but he might end up going down anyway to the nukes of EGM. That twin head is awful tanky. General finding that secondary stun. And meanwhile in the mid lane, Dendi's also gone down. Alliance firing back. Make it 2-3 as they can't run down Loda, who skates away. So S4 looks like he did end up getting help on the second pass there from Ake Skyrath, the second time proving to be the charm. So they're going to bring Seneko back in mid to get a bit of experience, but quietly, Bulldog is farming. 34 CS in the safe lane. You know, you look at a Broodmother farming, sometimes the Brood falls off later on, but Bulldog, on every game I've seen on the Brood, he's had impact even 40, 50 minutes in this tournament, Ben.
Yeah, he does seem to farm and scale really well in the Broodmother, where a lot of them just fall short after the laning phase. And
what do you think like separates? Is it the item build? Is it the decision making?
A little bit of both.
Okay.
More so the item build. That's just the type of player he is. Someone that won't fall off.
Shackle mid. They found S4 again. Power shots there. The magic damage really raining in on S4, but not enough to finish the kill. They will force him back, but he just bottles up and calmly moves towards the rune spawn. See if Na'Vi are able to get another round for themselves.
And now Alliance trying to counter the greed of the Chen by moving one of their own heroes into jungle, Admiral Bulldog farming up, and switching Skyrath Mage to farm that lane versus the Timbersaw.
So let's talk a little bit more about the mid game here. We're heading towards the tail end of the laning stage. Dragon Knight's at level 6. Chen's gone first few smoke ganks. We've seen some lane swaps. You mentioned Slardar needs to catch up. What are the next couple of minutes, 5 to 10 or so, looking like for each team?
If Na'Vi can have a really tanky hero that can withstand like a Dragon Tail into a Skywrath Ultimate or a Chronosphere into a Mystic Flare, then they'll be willing to fight Alliance 5-on-5. Otherwise, just try and get quick picks with Wind Ranger, get that early blink up on Slardar, and go for surgical maneuvers around the map as opposed to large-scale battles.
Well, art style. He's looking to be very aggressive here top. Roaming through the river. The surgery is perhaps not to the liking of Loda. This is an unwilling patient that he moves after, but EGM probably the easier target. Let's see who they go on. It is Loda. Stop. Oh, he just barely dodges it. So they're going to go back for the easier, lower-hanging fruit of the kill. But Artstyle kind of finds himself surrounded by his own creeps, and Loda just runs back in on him. General's trapped out in the trees. Not exactly the smoothest gank from Na'Vi, but they do end up getting the twin head in the end. Some additional damage taken there, and Loda will back away, unable to save his buddy. So despite being a very tanky support, then this twin head still racking up the deaths.
It's because they know that the Broodmother is very static. DK is somewhat static. Usually he's more the aggressor, like you TP to a lane and then you get a kill, but he's not terribly great at counter ganking just because you want him to be parked mid and get that tower down as soon as possible. But Broodmother not going to move from bottom for the next 15 or 20 minutes likely.
And you've got a Dragon Knight mid who has now hit level 6, cracking level 7 even, and he may not move, just going to pop the ultimate, chip on the tower, and it seems Alliance are pretty content with a static laning stage, even towards the tail end of when they normally break down, but Na'Vi, they don't like that. They're even roaming now, the Slardar, looking towards the top rune. They want to fight this out. The Shackle comes through from the low ground. The follow-ups there from Seneko with the balanced Ray and S4. He tries to make it out. He's so low, but not good enough. The Firebird wins again.
I wonder what Seneco's win rate on that hero is.
It's not just his, like, he wins the mid lane no matter what the matchup is, no matter how much help the enemy team gives to their own mid. So consistently. And then you look towards the mid game, can have a lot of impact, and again it's on the top. The bubble gets dropped, but EGM shackled outside of it, can't follow it up with any sort of damage. He could be in danger here. Artstyle turning back towards him. The fire, the Hadouken onto EGM. They continue to ramp up the damage. Back up, not in sight. Loda again throws EGM to the horde of Na'Vi, who continue to just descend on this lane. They get another kill. And while this is happening, Timbersaw getting some free farm bottom. It's actually Alliance moving 3 towards mid. They feel like they have to get an objective then.
Right now, it doesn't seem like Brood has a place in this game. She can't lane versus Timbersaw, you can't push versus the Slardar, and you can't defend any of these ganks that Na'Vi are pushing around the map.
DotA, perhaps a bit too bold here. He comes in, he tries for the tower deny. That won't happen. But again, it's Seneko. Back to the party. He's got an egg already. Only 9 minutes in. He'll drop it. Shackle. Oh, a bit off the mark. Could have been a huge setup on 2 heroes. Still Na'Vi are chasing. They really hunt for these kills. They dive deep on Ake. They want that Skywrath Mage. They get him too. And Seneko healing DotA. All the while, however, he will fall as the trade. A 1-for-1. Bit unpolished there. A bit sloppy, but Na'Vi will retreat fairly safely. So it's a Timbersaw for a Skywrath, but Alliance do get the tower mid in the end. And Na'Vi unable to take a tier 1 of their own.
And they're making good use of the DK. They could have picked something like a Queen of Pain. It was still available on the map, but looking to push down those towers very early with a dual threat, the Broodmother and the Dragon Knight. Bulldog has committed for a hit of minus.
Bulldog, he's definitely not afraid to take this lane, even if he is a Brood. He's shown that hero can scale quite well, but EGM, he's a punching bag at this point. Another death for him. Just gets pummeled time after time by Na'Vi, but he is drawing 3-4 TPs or rotations every time he dies, and all the while, we see Broodmother farming the jungle. We do see Loda in the off lane, not farming exceptionally well, but looks like he might be going towards a bigger item, saving up to 1,900 gold now. So, do you feel it's enough space created to justify all the deaths?
I don't think so. Seneco's getting out of control. He's level 7.5. I think he was level 6 at 8 minutes, which was faster than General and Slardar. On top of that, Na'Vi have an excellent Roche lineup with the Slardar, and Wind Ranger is a very, very good Aegis carrier in this game, especially when you can just sack her and in exchange for a Chrono and a Mystic Flare. So I'm pretty worried about Alliance's mid game unless they make a move right now.
The double smoke, both teams moving in. Alliance on the low ground. Na'Vi have the high ground positioning. They don't have the blink yet on the Slardar though. He's about 600 gold short or so, and it's S4 who ends up ambushing Seneko at long last. The Phoenix dies at the start of a fight. That is a whole lot sweeter. Loda being chain stunned, completely controlled for now by Artstyle. He does get the time walk out, but he's running for dear life. He has a Chrono, doesn't want to waste it defensively. He will be able to disengage. A close call there, but all the while Bulldog, well, Might not lane well against the Timber, but he's been left alone bottom, and he takes full advantage. Grabs the tower. A secondary one for Alliance, who have done a really good job. You look at the Mineski series, they would often, if they didn't feel like they could take fights, or even if they do, they hedge their bets by taking an objective elsewhere. And they do it again now.
Yep, usually they will not be able to get such an easy kill on the Phoenix. I wonder what type of tool that Dragon Knight is going to go for. It looks like the Armlet first. Not sure if it will be a Blink or Shadow Blade after that. Maybe even a BKB will be warranted this game versus the Timbersaw.
I guess they're going to have a Slardar Blink Dagger on the side of Na'Vi soon. So for them, is that the key item they're lacking? And Loda being caught out here. He will just time walk and retreat. But Alliance feeling very confident that Rune is about to spawn. S4 down in the river. That Shackle doesn't end up connecting. Looked like it might, but Dendi couldn't quite find the angle. Still, they burn S4 down. Power shot. He did have a bit of extra regen there. Pops the stick, pops the bottle. Now they want to turn. Tsuneko overextending again. That's twice now he's gotten punished. And meanwhile, Chen also roasting as EGM massacres the creep army. Na'Vi firmly on the back foot after this last sequence of events. They might lose a third hero. Arcside will end up dropping to the rotation of Ake. That's a 3-for-0 exchange. As Bulldog gets active here too. Rotating towards the mid lane. May retreat to his home and hibernate a bit in bottom, but you can see that Alliance are just in control right now. In pretty much every department. Almost a 7,500 gold lead at only 13 minutes in.
I don't think they're seeking out the Broodmother enough. Broodmother is extremely weak at this point. Well, now she has Echo Saber, but not that much HP. Hand of minus, she's just a walking sack of gold at this point. And if you get her Spiralings too, that might be 3,000 gold for just one kill on the side of Na'Vi. However, without the Blink Dagger, there is not that big of a threat for Broodmother.
General still trying to cobble it together. Never ended up going for the completed Iron Talon, and it has been a very slow farm game on him, but he is closing in on it now. We see him at 13 minutes, only about 400 gold away or so, but still a little bit to go. And Alliance not really afraid of that as we see confident split pushing, both top and bottom, spreading the map, really pulling Na'Vi apart at the seams. And this is that stage of the game, Ben, where if Chen is playing defense, he is just not your ideal hero to have.
Timbersaw is not very farmed. He has 960 HP right now with the cloak, but that's not really a problem for Alliance, who can easily chrono him. You want to get to the point where Na'Vi, they aren't scared to walk up to the Void. Right now, if anyone sees a Void, they just have to immediately back out of the fight.
So Na'Vi waiting on the blink. It seems that's really the key at this point. Bulldog did grab the Echo Saber, up to another 1,300 gold now. Still creeping on the bottom lane. Beyond the blink, anything else that Na'Vi can do to get back in this game? You mentioned
just a lot more farmer.
Great Roche potential. Can they try to sneak a Roche right now? Is that too risky?
I don't think they can. Broodmother is already sending one Spiderite into the pit, so they can constantly keep tabs on there, and Bulldog has a great set of webs.
And another jungle invasion play now is Alliance. You can see just to the south of Artstyle creeping into the woods.
Dire needs to scan on the two smoked heroes. They know that they're there.
Maybe scouts this out. They are playing very far back. The mech now complete, but still S4 creeping forward, wanting to go in. Not going to end up committing to this. And they do send the Dragon Knight just back towards the mid lane now. So Alliance whiffing on the smoke there, but you can still see the general positioning they have. They feel like they can posture up, post up in the Na'Vi woods, play aggressively. They're not really afraid of any sort of counterplay, and Na'Vi maybe going to punish them for that now as we see them grouping up towards the bottom rune, but it's into the Roche pit they go.
He is double Timbersaw's net worth right now, Admiral Bulldog is. So you have the offlaner who's double the other opposing offlaner's net worth. You have the Faceless Void who's pretty close to double Slaughter's net worth, and they really need kills on one of those two boards.
They are trying for the Roshan, but Alliance are having none of it. And now he's fairly low. Bulldog's going to send the army in, see what's going on. They find a Roche at half HP. Do they just try to take it right away? Na'Vi, General's going to jump. He gets the initiation off on Ake. This is the Blink Dagger debut. It nets them an Ake kill. Does Loda want to counterplay? Shackle coming through, won't connect on EGM. Where's that Chrono? It's a pretty good one, but the egg's on top of it. So Alliance don't want to walk in. This is going to completely waste the Chronosphere. Na'Vi now, Roche at half HP. Bulldog being forced back a bit. They get the amp damage on him. A Bulldog kill would be huge. They crush him. They latch onto him. Can they focus him down? Chasing a bit further. He gets up one auto attack. EGM now finds himself on an island as his Bulldog again retreating. Dendi just fishing, looking for the follow-up action here. Na'Vi finding their customary aggression, waving with an awful lady stage. There's the tackle from Dendi, and they find the S4 kill, make it 11-7. They're not done just yet. On to Loda they go. Sunray coming through as the Time Walk does get it off, but they can potentially still chase this. He's still in range for a bit of additional damage. Trying, good job there with the time dilation, but still the Blink Crush comes out. General will get another kill for the team. 12-7 now the score as 4 Alliance heroes, including the Skywrath earlier, hit the deck. A complete coup d'etat from Na'Vi, who will now also, on top of that 3,000 gold swing, they get the Roche as well.
So Nico with a godly supernova. If he didn't have that supernova, I think they were in line for a 3-man macro pyre and an ice path.
Instead, they had nothing.
If they commit to that, they all get wiped by the supernova.
Now, Soneko, he gave up those 2 deaths, but he was huge in the early late stage, and he's been really big here into the crucial mid-game moments. On the back of that, going to get a nice tome of experience. He's going to potentially pay with his life. Sunray going for the TP. See you later, Bulldog. I'm out of here. Oh, just toying with the dong. Sick stuff.
Sick stuff indeed. Alliance, they do have a good amount of farming items. Faces Void, not going for super tanky build. Maelstrom up on him. Midas already up on Bulldog.
Bulldog. He's out pretty far here, Ben. The crush comes through. Is there any follow-up, though? It's a slow-marching Chen army that looks to join General. I think they were hoping Bulldog would finish farming that wave. He does make it out, but feels like they're starting to get a little more pressure on Bulldog, limit him a bit. Alliance turning their sights elsewhere. They see Na'Vi congregating bottom, and they send 4 to the mid lane. They even rotate the Brood away, so they're basically willing to give up this tower and go for 2 of their own.
I wonder if Sunray was going to be enough to stop that. I wonder what General's going to go for. He has 1,700 gold after, and at this point, it seems to him as if Alliance are going to keep dodging fights. So what does he want to commit for? If you're fighting a lot, then 4-staff is pretty darn good. Sometimes you see like a pipe or a BKB. Midas is an option for him. Armlet.
Yet another smoke from Na'Vi. Alliance already getting nervous. They're backing out. There's the quick time walk away, but Dendi, he's hasted, racing after Loda, thinking about a chrono. He hesitates, fishing for the angle. Dendi, he doesn't get it. No latch for you, sir, but instead, they might get EGM. He's on the run once more. The star-crossed Jakiro drops, but hey, I guess at this point, it's probably the best kill to be giving up.
Alliance are still farming faster than Na'Vi can kill them, possessing a 3k gold lead, most of it due to Broodmother.
Oh, you say that, but the graphs are tipping a bit here. It's definitely equalized, Ben.
Yeah.
And they're just waiting for that one explosive fight now as they're playing a lot more offense. We see them going for smokes, not afraid to run after Bulldog, and they still hold the Aegis here. Got a couple of minutes to work with, about 2.5 or so. And they are pushing for towers. They got the tier 1 bottom earlier, courtesy of the Chen army, and now Na'Vi, they set their sights on the top lane. Dendi slowly poking at this one. Alliance are mustering the defense. Loda in position. Doesn't have the Blink Dagger. He's more that one position void here. He's gone for a Maelstrom Yasha build. Looks like he was even considering a Vlad's at one point. So a bit all over the place, but mostly focused on the carry void. And looks like Alliance, they think about the tower defense and then they decide to let it go.
The kill score looks bad for Alliance, but 7 of the deaths are on the Jakiro.
That's impressive.
It is.
EGM's been practicing. Taking a page out of Pylai Dai's book, but it does seem like for the most part it's been for a good cause. Last fight we see the...
I don't want to read that book. That'll be...
It's a depressing tale. Better told from the core's point of view, not so much from his.
So it looks like maybe they don't want to fight until BKBs. Still, most of the other heroes aside from the DK lack the problem of armor. Armor going to be a huge issue versus the Wind Ranger focus fire, the Amp, and the Slardar. So I'm not sure if Broodmother or Faces Void are going to go for maybe Vlad's AC at some point.
Still hanging on to some gold here. We did see Bulldog grab the BKB, so has been a pretty early pickup for him in most of his games. Seems like he really wants to fight on the Brood in the mid game.
He's been kind of fortunate that some of the Shackles haven't lashed on him. If a Shackle hits on him, it's almost guaranteed.
It gets a lot harder now, though. Dendi's got the blink. They have the blink on the Slardar. And Na'Vi are starting to get more wards up here as they, or at least have the opportunity to do so. We see the one deep ward in the top lane. Probably can drop one off in the Radiant jungle after taking this tower mid. They're getting more map control with this Aegis.
And a lot of time how we see Alliance deal with this sort of initiation.
Oh, my babies!
like
Bulldog,
a
take
Blink
better
stun
care of
from
your...
Blink stun from Slaughter or like a
Yeah.
Blink Shackle from Wind Ranger's mass force staffs, but they don't have any
There's
farm.
the Blake, the jump onto S4. There's no save, there's no counterplay. Your tanky mid lane Dragon Knight just gets eviscerated. And Na'Vi surging back into pole position in this one. Now look for the tier 2 mid. EGM can do not but watch, unless he wants to give away death number 8.
It's going to be a slow siege on the T3 if they go for no Scepter up on Dendi.
Na'Vi just making all the right calls here, and it began with that Roche fight from a very significant deficit, but Seneko now closing in on the hand of Midas, up to 1700 gold.
Bulldog almost got jumped on by General. He went for a Shadow Blade and going back in for round 2.
Round 2, fight. This one's a shackle. Dendi still got the DD, just chunks him down, pops the BKB, and the ultimate belt. Windrun says, you can't lifesteal for me. And Dendi gets the last laugh. Again, bringing down Bulldog, finds himself now on a mega kill streak. This Broodmother not having the impact that we've seen from Bulldog in previous games this event.
And that was...
Despite the net worth.
That's a kill that will tip Na'Vi into the net worth lead at long last.
The tables have turned.
I don't know where
What's next for
place
Alliance?
in this game is. She was supposed to do a decent amount of damage in laning phase, but she was matched up versus the Timbersaw, and then later the Slardar, and now she has a lot of farm on the Broodmother, but you get amped during a team fight with BKB on you, you're still going to perish. Like I don't see how he's supposed to man up.
Yeah, and you've got a core in Timbersaw who's very tanky. The Wind Ranger is Windrun, so until you get MKB, can't really deal with him. Not easy to find a target to lock onto unless you have an immaculate Chrono, and we've barely seen a Chrono this game, and the really good one that we did from Loda, there was an egg there, so they weren't able to follow up on it.
Well, if there's a Broodmother that can deal with this, I think it will be Bulldog.
General trying to avoid any opportunity for that. He Shadow Blades in deep on the bottom lane. He pings out S4 immediately. This could be awkward timing for Na'Vi though, because the whole Alliance Horde is coming in. They think about a retreat now. Seneko, a casual swoop through, and then a quick jump back, even popping the tactical smoke on the retreat. But Bulldog, ooh, that Brood racing after him. Not going to commit fully. Dendi now activating the regen rune. Na'Vi, they may end up disengaging here.
Right now, they definitely know that he has BKB. Maybe before that, they were willing to take a fight, but after seeing the BKB out on Brood, it's very unlikely that they want to go that deep onto the Brood.
Na'Vi are flexing their muscles now. They bring in the upgraded Ancient Creeps on the back of that Chenags, and they will commence a bit of a siege here. We'll see how aggressively they want to push their advantage now, and again, a deep flank coming in. It's from the Slardar, from behind Alliance. It might be a triple crush if they're not careful. Will General get the jump? Doesn't look like it. The Chrono comes out first, isolates Ditya. The Yank gets focused down. Alliance executing much better this time. General a bit late to the party there, not able to help his team. And Ditya on his own, but Dendi still finding counter kills. They brought down the Void. Bulldog has to turn tail and run as the BKB has ended. Dendi continues to lay into him. Will blink out. A 2-for-1 there, but EGM, oh, again and again. This poor Jakiro. Left of the Chen Creeps is being saved a bit by the team. He may actually live through a fight. Hooah for EGM. He makes it out. Artstyle now trying to retreat the creep army out, it looks like, and send home some teammates. He will get Dendi out of there safely. Now he finds himself on an island, gets slowed down, nuked down, and brought down. That is not the ideal fight for Na'Vi. They give up 3 kills in Alliance. They just didn't get the Slardar initiation they were looking for.
Nope. And Timbersaw, I think he tanked everything in that fight. He has a hood. He popped it right before the Mystic Flare came out.
Okay, the quick draw in general. He's just pressing. Bit frustrated perhaps with the way that fight went. Felt like he had to make a play for the team and ends up giving them another kill.
Yep. They do have a lot of farm though. Chen especially, I think with the Aghanim Scepter is going to be a big factor with all those ancient auras coming in.
It's just such an interesting pace from Na'Vi. It's like their customary kind of breakneck Dota where they're like desperately searching for follow-up kills, diving deep. Like they see one hero low, they say, all right, you guys in the back deal with him. We want to find that next target. At times it seems it does lead to overextending. Alliance much more reactionary, much more of a defensive posture, a very kind of classic offense versus defense dynamic developing in this game.
Yeah, Phoenix does not have the defensive items to deal with one stun. Going for the Team Vlads, no Midas Shivas, or even Ags that we see sometimes from Seneko. He is definitely the highest priority target from Alliance.
So he opts not to go for the Midas here in the end, Ben.
Yeah, that's why I'm a little bit worried for Seneko.
Do you think this should have just been a Midas regardless of So obviously he feels like he needs to contribute more now, but
I think
you're trading off some of your mid and late game.
they traded him for the Chen Zags. So I think the Chen Zags is much safer in team fights. Those creeps are very unlikely to die and provides persistent help throughout all the team fights. And they can split push out the lanes. I still would like to see Phoenix scale in case the game goes late. Picking up the Scepter to save someone from a Chronosphere Mystic Flare combo, even something as simple as a Dragon Tail.
All right, Alliance, they know this Rosh is happening. They've got a couple of Spiderites in the pit, but they're too late. And General does see Loda, gets the crush, finds the amp. Dendi's there as well with the shackle. Navi quick to strike. They draw first blood of this engagement, and now they move back towards Ake, but Seneko very low. He gets nuked up, healed by Artstyle. Ake gonna fall too. They keep Seneko in fighting shape in general. This is what I'm talking about with Navi. They hunt for the backliners. They want those extra kills. They're on a power play. There's the shackle and the crush combo. S4 just completely controlled by Artstyle. Now will end up going down, and General hunting for the 4th kill. EGM all the way back to the base. He's dodged that 8th death for a while, Ben, but still a costly turn of events. Alliance very late to the Roche pit, despite having the vision inside.
And this is why Slaughter, I think, it might be first pick a lot more often, is just because
Especially Dire.
It's just the Roche. They didn't have enough time to set up. That fight was lost simply because they didn't have sentries down at the start of the fight. Faceless Void gets scouted out by the enemy. Slardar gets jumped and then just dies. But the supports didn't have time to set up there. They barely got a whiff of them with a broom of Spiderites and just scrambling everything to hastily defend the Roche.
And good news, EGM lived.
Is that good? I think things go better for them if he dies.
All right, EGM, go commit seppuku down the middle lane. It seems to be a winning strategy as opposed to this. Still, Alliance losing ground here. They're down to just 2 tier 2s, and it's more the momentum than anything else. As we've seen the Timbersaw pull his way back into this game. Artstyle up there in the top 5 in net worth, sort of a bit farther behind, but it's really like a quad core for Navi at this stage. Pretty late in the game for a Chen to still be that high up when it comes to net worth.
The bigger problem I see for Alliance is that the DK is not a big threat. He doesn't have any mobility on us. He has a BKB, but this is only good if Navi actually jump Alliance. How do Alliance jump Navi? They need the Faceless Void to get in with a Chronosphere, but he has no blink. He went for the Manta style to deal with the amp damage, perhaps make it a little bit more difficult for the Wind Ranger to shackle, but if he's dead, there's no team fights. Whereas Navi, they have the Blink Shackle, they have multiple Blink Slithering Crushes, very low cooldown from both of these heroes. They can just engage again and again, whereas Alliance just maybe once every couple of minutes.
They're really building up their sustainability. Timbersaw already naturally tanky, now grabs a hood. I can only imagine a pipe will be in the cards at some point this game. Wind Ranger has the Aegis, has the Chen backing them up with the Ag, so everyone on Navi just getting more and more durable, and more resistant to that Wombo combo. And oh, by the way, they have the Sunray. We call it the balance right here. So it keeps everything in check. Navi posting up bottom now. 4 heroes here. They've already taken down the tier 2. They're going to at least poke here on the high ground. Dendi, the man in front. A little bit over halfway to that Aghanim Scepter.
Still a very slow siege without Scepter, and he went for a very unusual build, Scepter 4th.
They do get a nice path on Dendi, but he continues to prod, and Sunray there to heal him up. Will also slowly work on this creep army. Ra coming in, General. Oh, he finds that first amp. Just giving them the vision up the hill that they need to threaten Alliance a bit more. Loda was split pushing top lane, but he's come home.
Sentries? They needed the award, this High Ground Observer ward. Okay, there it goes.
Still Navi. About half damage onto this tower. The Fire Dragon working on the creep wave. Will bring down Ancient Black Dragon. Up in front. Very tanky. They'll heal up Dendi. They still have 2 Ancient Creeps here. Alliance just very reluctant to fight head on into this, but there's no split push. There's no flank. There's only slight creep pressure top. There's nothing to draw Navi back for at least a couple of minutes until this Aegis expires.
Their damage is really slow without focus fire.
And Dendi does not want to waste it on the tower without the Ag, so he just pokes. He gets caught again by an Ice Path. Again the Breathe Fire. Again the Dragon battle rages, but one man's a man and one other's a Dragon. Loaded there, does get the good chrono though. Off on Ira, he'll go down quickly and gets dropped into the middle of Alliance. Can they burst it? They will. Alliance holding the high ground, turning on Navi. General down, Artstyle as well. They spring the trap. They only got a 1-man chrono, but that was all they needed.
Oh, that egg is really useless versus double BKB from Alliance. It just, I don't even know how long the thing stayed up. And that was a solo Chronosphere on Timbersaw. He has Bloodstone and he's fairly tanky, no reactive armor stacks up on him. Not that it really mattered for him in the end, but now it's back to that point where they can't take the Chrono combo.
So what do you do? How do you tank it?
Some people just tank it through Aegis. I think you only have the Wind Ranger up very far up in front so that the Void can't possibly get to you without a Blink Dagger, which he does not possess at the moment. You can also tank it through having BOTs and a high charged Bloodstone on Timbersaw, so you can just tee back into the fight. But it's only going to be a limited amount of time before Faceless Void gets even bigger and can go Refresher to counter these methods.
You know, Loda now building towards the BKB, grabbing the recipe here. Already has the hammer. Actually could buy it now if he wanted to, but might be preferring to save for buyback, because one really bad fight could end up costing them the next Roche or possibly a lane of Rex.
I think Navi could also build like a Glimmer Cape. It's really good versus the Skywrath Mage. That's mostly why I think the hero fell out of favor. And then the Pipe Aura, which DotA just recently completed, will be good. And AC, Auras. And the Golem. I'm not sure if Hardstyle had a Golem last fight.
No, he had a... I don't think he did.
I think he had a Triceratops.
Triceratops. Ancient Thunder. So Navi will slow it down a bit. The Aegis has been reclaimed, and we're going to reset. We head to the 32-minute mark, only game one. It feels like a grueling slugfest. Not so much because of the raw number of kills, but more the back and forth way that they've come about, with Navi coming out to an early lead, Alliance striking back.
General just picked up a gem and he has no BKB. If he gets caught out here, it's going to be a big momentum.
He's got the high ground positioning, though. He's really in a great spot to scout out Alliance and reveal them. He quickly slithers back and will end up retreating. But Alliance, the timing not quite right. Didn't actually scout them, just got nervous. So they breach high ground. The smoke continues. Navi hanging near the secret shop. Does seem like they're aware this is a possibility, as three heroes are very far back near the base. And they will successfully, for now, dodge it. Alliance coming from an unusual angle, but Navi on the right side to avoid it.
And their scan had missed. They used it near the mid T3 of Alliance. And that check in green, they knew that they were outside of the base smoking.
Roshan still a little ways off here. Be at least a minute, possibly 4, before the big rock comes back.
Let's see if General gets his D-ward. It's kind of hard to see that Observer.
4 staff solves that problem. Kills the trees. And now General moving back into the Alliance wards. And, I mean, the key thing there, they hang on to the gem, Ben, and they have gotten rid of a lot of wards on the back of that as of late. Navi, they need this for the map control.
Alliance have a lot more BKBs. 1, 2, 3. Faces Void, Brood, and Dragon Knight. And Navi only have one on the Wind Ranger. Timbersaw, I think, needs one. He can pop it as soon as he chronos if you're fast enough. Same with Slardar. They need him alive. Just keep amping after the BKBs come up.
We're still at that point where the Wind Ranger doesn't really dish out immense physical damage. Went for the Maelstrom, just got the Ags. Doesn't have that next big, MKB or Daedalus type of pickup that lets him hit extremely hard on his own. Amp damage will help, but BKBs are going to offer a lot against Navi, essentially rendering DotA useless if they get off.
He didn't put out that much damage before the BKBs, actually, so I don't think it's that big of a problem for him.
He's been kind of quiet as an impact this game. We saw him earlier getting caught by the Chrono, but I mean, more importantly, like Timbersaw, normally you pick him for damage.
He's the EGM.
You pick him to frontline.
Navi.
If he frontlines, that's a lot more farm on him, though.
I don't know how he's supposed to build up his reactive armor stacks before the fight. It was good in lane because of the Broodmother.
Hope the Bulldog feeds you Spiderites.
Some people just take neutrals and don't kill them. You just sit there for 15 seconds building up max stacks. That makes a big difference in fights.
Alliance, they do have a lot of magic damage, but that's where the pipe comes in a bit. As they smoke again.
Even the HP regen. If you have the pipe HP regen and then 32 HP regen from max stacks.
Oh, this could be huge. It's going to be a very quick Roshan respawn, and Slardar ends up getting caught out. General, oh boy, gem down S4. Pops a celebratory BKB at the tail end of that.
You don't expect the Slardar to be alone like that with the gem. So that's why he popped his BKB, and that's not a good time. Navi not really playing that tight around the Roshan respawn.
And no buyback.
Yeah, 9:15 post.
It looks to be Alliance's first and just a straight up free Roshan of the game. But they are a bit slow as far as this goes until Bulldog comes in, so they are going to congregate here in the pit, but Navi showing signs that they might want to take a fight. This is where the egg can be devastating, even if you have BKBs, if they can't get to it. Gem just marking Alliance's territory here down in the pit, letting Na'Vi know that this area is under their control, but Seneko is zoning them back with the Fire Spirits. They're buying time for the Slardar respawn as they barely clip Artstyle here. They commit onto him. Loda spending a lot of time working on a very tanky support gen, but Dendi's the real grab, and that's the one that S4 catches out. BKBs aplenty have been popped by Alliance, but it's gotten them 2 critical kills around the pit, and they come back in. No buyback on Dendi. They won't have their prized Wind Ranger, but who needs her when you've got Sunray? General onto Ake, does get off the crush, but Seneko, the bigger prize, brought down by the chain stun of Loda together with S4. They work on DotA. He is getting some stacks out. He chains, but he ends up just getting sent back, and he chains back into the fight. DotA all over the place with this one. But Alliance, more importantly, they're hitting Roche, and Roche can't move, can't be sent home, can't go anywhere.
And the Blink Dragon Knight making a huge difference in that fight. First picking off the Slardar and then picking off the Wind Ranger before she is able to get her BKB off. And Alliance, now they have a huge threat in the DK. They don't need the Void to set up for fights.
Oh, they might get the Chen army here as well. They have the level 3 Dragon Knight ultimate. Alliance coming into their own. As we hit the 37-minute mark, it's been a sequence of very costly deaths, and now big items piling in on the tail end of it. They have an MKB up to deal with the Windrunner. She can't just pop Windrun when Bulldog goes on her and expect to survive. Positioning will be of the utmost importance. At the same time, Greaves grabbed by EGM despite all the deaths. He is ahead of that Phoenix, ahead of Seneko at 38 minutes.
I think General probably regrets his 4-stat pickup. He knows that he needs BKB for these fights.
He's got 3 mobility items.
You need the supports to build, like the Glimmer Capes and 4 staffs, and then he needs to be able to tank up. All 3 cores need to be able to withstand the Chronosphere, or even a DK stun, but Slardar can't even stand up to the DK stun at this point.
It's such a low cooldown initiation, and one of the big reasons why the hero has come back into the meta.
And instant.
And often unscouted. Na'Vi has been quiet here from Artstyle after a fantastic start. You can see the graphs reflecting it. He's stagnated. He's gone for the Hyperstone. Probably wants that Assault Cuirass, but it's a long journey to grab it. Bulldog, long having since completed his own, now moving towards his end game. Skull Basher will be next. And Alliance muscling up mid. It's going to be Navi's turn to whip up a miracle here in the base defense, as they will lose the tier 2 mid. The bottom lane slowly pushing against Alliance, but I don't think it's moving at a rate sufficient to force them back, and we do see Alliance hold ground, continue to pressure. They let the Frost Dragon out. There comes an early, a very early pop on the glyph there. Alliance, having seen that, will stick around. Nobody from Na'Vi back. The whole team in the base. No split push, no counterplay, just a head-on fight brewing. Will they get that Miracle Shackle? Will the Chrono be off the mark? Na'Vi praying for a Lotosphere.
General has a really tough time jumping.
And there's the Shackle. It's a long-range one. It's the Catapult that works against Loda and quickly drops the egg. Loda pops his BKB. They just beat it down. Then the follow-up Chrono. It's the right kind of Lotosphere for Alliance, the one that might end Na'Vi's hopes in game number 1. General, very low. He does Shadow Blade out. S4's been caught. The secondary Shackle working its magic, but they get on to Dendi. He's been sent home by Artstyle. The nuke, the Ice Path isn't enough. I think he makes it out of this one, Ben. They haven't gotten the racks. They end up being forced back just with the Dragon Knight death. It looked like a pretty good fight from Alliance there, but they just didn't have the finishing power.
Well, then he took so long to kill that Dragon Knight. He has a ton of armor, and then he popped the cheese. He was on a pretty good 10 seconds throughout the fight, and a pretty decent Chrono from Faceless Void over there.
It really was a good one. They kill the egg, and right as the egg dies, he pops the Chrono on 2. They almost got General, just didn't get that extra bash. He barely makes out of range, courtesy of the Shadow Blade. And Na'Vi, after a very tentative hold, they're immediately hunting for kills. A deep movement forward by General to the bottom lane. He might just jump EGM here, but EGM's a bit tanky.
If he walks up that hill, maybe.
And General waiting for the backup to arrive. Timbersaw on his way, Dendi too. So all 3 Na'Vi cores taking up position in the Alliance woods.
I think Loda could have played far more forward in that fight. He did have the Aegis and popped the BKB for his first life, making sure that he wouldn't get stunned before he popped his Chronosphere, but opting to back off as soon as S4 died. Maybe it wasn't so bad.
There's the Shadow Blade movement. General just constantly on patrol. Na'Vi just one slight hold, but instantly their spirits are buoyed and they're playing a lot more confidently. Still Alliance though have the Aegis, and you're going to see LOTA able to hold on to that for about another minute. Is that minute long enough for Alliance to march back down mid? Do they try for a push again here, or do they just have to reset?
I think they can just reset. They can just wait for MKB coming out on Faces Void, and then Dendi is going to die in the Chronosphere, BKB or not.
Well, they are grouping up mid. Looks like they may at least poke. Bulldog nuking the wave, increasing the number of progeny he has on the map. And the army does start to grow, but Alliance don't really want to go in. So they're content just with a bit of lane pressure. They retreat back towards the pit. You can see that they're really debating it here. They want to get a ward down for Ake, and the whole team will follow him as he plants it. He just now reclaimed, so if they go high ground, it will be without that extra life. And there is still a tier 2 bottom.
I don't think there's a big rush for them. I still wonder what Faces Void is going to go. Whether he wants like a refresher, although he doesn't have the mana pool to support it at this point. Especially with 2 activatable items, Manta and Mjolnir, that take a lot of mana.
Art Style is turning into Carry Chen now. Gets the AC at 43 minutes. A big pickup here, especially against Bulldog, just to at least negate his, but how long the Chen lives, that's a question to be determined. Na'Vi pushing out the lane, and they are going for the wraparound. They're smoked, and under cover of it, heading straight, beelining really, towards Alliance. It's LOTA in the trees. Do they get a good crush? He's the gem carrier. They jump LOTA. Dendi's ready as well. The BKB coming through. LOTA just melting. Dendi might kill him off the bat. He does end up getting off the chrono on the General, and they will possibly lose Dendi here. LOTA survives through it all. Just walks away. Cool guys don't look back at explosions, and LOTA looks very cool right now. 4 drop. Na'Vi forced to throw out a buyback here on Dendi. How did they not kill LOTA in that fight?
It's the Alliance Force Staff. We saw it in the matchup versus Mineski, saving them in the base defense. And again, Ake casting on LOTA so that he can pop his BKB, time walk some of the damage off, and get that big Chronosphere to win them the team fight.
Well, the living legend coming back to life here in a critical moment. 23-20, they begin their siege. They're down 3 heroes on the side of Na'Vi, and DotA basically sacrificing his own life just to stall. It does allow Dendi to get a crucial kill in S4. Alliance have abandoned their brother, and they will suicide the Timbersaw, so no gold, but now Dendi, he's out too far. That's a dieback on the Dendi Mon, and Alliance, this might just be it. They've got 100 seconds to go without the Wind Ranger. Exposed racks, mid and bottom, could easily be 2 lanes, possibly Megas. Maybe they even tried to throne it, or maybe they just run away. It might not be a Wind Ranger, but the rest of the Na'Vi squad is back. Abyssal complete on Bulldog. A fully 6-slotted Brood Mama. On to General, just a couple of pokes. The Spider spreads her legs, and the Bulldog Broodmother continues to rack up kills to have a huge impact in the late game. Doing it again here in game 1. Alliance blows in the Swedes. They're almost there. They just need 1 or 2 more kills, or at least for Na'Vi not to come and defend. DotA decides to. That may cost him. BKB's out. DotA down. That's all 3 cores dead, and Alliance have all but sealed it. Na'Vi have nothing but underfarm supports to defend the base. They'll rotate to top. They want the Megas. Slow and steady. Alliance just outlasting Na'Vi in these critical engagements. Bit by bit, inch by inch, they zero in. A very feudal light comes out, marking where the Na'Vi base once stood. But the Hordes have reassembled, and they are looking for this final lane of Rex. No split push, no hope in sight. Alliance may lay down. Ranged is all that remains, and there's the GG. Alliance, they start to put the crown back on here in game 1. They're out to a 1-0 lead.
Man, if you look at Chen's net worth at the end of the game, he had 15,000, whereas he was maybe like 6,000 above the Slaughter. Just not enough farm on the Slaughter, not enough farm on DotA, and I must say, I favor Na'Vi a lot more when they have DotA on a farming core, like Faceless Void or Lone Druid, like we saw a little bit earlier, but no one was making plays on Na'Vi.
And they had 2 big playmaking heroes here. The Slardar, who was making them a bit in the mid game, but when he lost the gem, it felt like everything just dried up from there.
His blink was too slow, his BKB was non-existent, and Bulldog, the true carry,
Yeah, the Bulldog Broodmother continues its very impressive run, and Broodmother can win a lot of games. We saw that like going back to ESL 1 New York at the end of last year. Can take them over, but he's doing it in a different way. He's taking the Brood late and winning there too. Alliance looking very strong in this game number 1, but it is a best of 3. Na'Vi fighting for their lives here at the Manila Major. We're not done just yet, folks. Can Na'Vi bounce back, or will it be a clean Alliance 2-0 sweep?